Arrest on Welpill of Welpille on Small and Lynch. Of Small and Lynch on Wæl Weg near the Weirdne. Of Wæl Weg on Ashwelle. Of Ashwille on the Aldenmed ditch. Of there a ditch on Versmeres West Snokken. Of them Snokken on Fulanmere East Weirdne. Of them Mere on Stodvold.
This behind me is Haywood, and I'm in on the outskirts of Weston-super-Mare. Haywood, as you know, has the word hay at the front, which means a hedged enclosure for keeping game in and other functions. It basically means something, a privatised bit of land. I have multiple objectives for this video. One, see if I can't find a hedge at Haywood. Hay means hedge. To date, using the Hooper method, I'm going to look for a wood bank. If there's a wood bank, we have something old worth looking at. I've taken a bit of a detour to come here because I wanted to show you, whenever I find an interesting old wood, I want to show you it. There is an anglo-saxon charter and a medieval charter of the 1400s that are practically identical for this area. The parish is Bleeden, Blaerdon, which means the coloured hill, and so I have a lot of really old English names that can tell us something about the landscape that was here, that is hidden from us today, which is the whole point of this channel. Now, what's good about having a second charter that's practically identical, it can corroborate evidence. It could also correct mistakes, which I shall go into, which I shall go into. But Grundy did this area in one of his articles, and he couldn't find some places which I don't think he was. I think he must have had an off day, because I found a few of them. He also is not all that interested in the antiquarian discoveries of the century before him, and I am. So he doesn't talk of the Roman road, for example. I'm going to be talking about that Roman road. Where is it? We have more than one candidate. We have a missing Roman. Well, no, it's not missing, but it's been described. There's a Roman settlement which we're going to be talking about, but first I need to make a correction and an apology. I told off the Americans for being naughty because they keep messing around with guns, and I made the mistake of saying that we have laws in this country against the holding of arms because of the Romans, which is massively incorrect. I have promulgated my own historical ideology onto the internet without checking. I apologise. It was obvious it was tongue-in-cheek, but you're still naughty, Americans. But I was wrong. We've only had gun laws in this country for about 100 years. It does explain a lot. I always wondered how, if you weren't allowed to carry guns, how come people were carrying pistols when there was highway robberies going on? How on earth did the upper classes have duels if they weren't allowed to bear arms? All this sort of stuff. But But anyway, I'm going downhill. I'm going to regret this, aren't I? So this is a dry stone wall, not a wood bank, which is quite annoying. I'm going to go a little bit further, see if I can find any more. Now, much of this around here in the 1800s was scrubland rather than woodland. If I go far enough, I will definitely come across ancient wood. Well, no, I will come across woodland that's been managed for hundreds of years. Through it goes a hypothetical Roman road, which was on the 1800s maps, but it has disappeared since. A lot of shade has been cast on this this area as far as the Romans are concerned. History is contested, so it means when you do a search on Google about something historical, you will find misinformation. This is why you have to restrict. You can have a browse at what Google comes up with, but it might give you clues to look further, but keep looking for academic journals to get something closer to the truth, because they will be peer reviewed. So for example, the settlement down here was known in the 19th century as Ad Axium, to Axium, which is probably the River Axe, except it isn't. Because it's entirely made up, it's a fictitious name. Now, that has been recognised by academics, which is why it's disappeared off the map. There was a wholesale falsification of dreamers promulgating on their version of the internet falsehoods like me and the English gun laws. It'll never be. It was corrected by scientists, by professors of managed nosology. But now it's coming back again. That's because of AI. Now if you Google Ad Axium, you will find a whole load of quite reasonably constructed English about the area here, none of which, balancing points of view from various different people, none of which mentioning that the name is fictitious, which makes it a completely useless tool if it's not going to tell us the basic information we need to make a judgment. I've come across this several times. Google, oh God, it's a place in Wales. Until I can remember, you know. Anyway, yes, there's a place in Wales where you type in the Roman fort there, and it will tell you. Type in the castle there, and it will tell you the Romans built it. It's just not true. The Romans didn't build the castle there. And Google AI is massively wrong when it comes to information that's contested, and everything to do with the origin of Britain will be contested from both left, right, rationalist, mystical, the whole works. And you can't come to a middle position, a compromise between all of them without sacrificing the truth. So I'm not saying the academics get it all wrong. My day today is to prove, like every video, is to prove Grundy wrong, and I will do it. And he was like a professor at Oxford. He didn't try hard enough in this area. But anyway, I just wanted to talk about that. So the name of the town is fictitious, but did it exist at all with a real name? Well, we don't know what that name is, but it did exist, because certainly a settlement did, because there was tons of Roman pottery. Now it's contested about what the earthworks in the area were about. Crawford calls them lynches, that is agricultural terraces, and others call them a Roman town. But there shouldn't, if it was just lynches, there shouldn't be that much pottery up there. Geopolitically, should there be a Roman town there? It's an inlet onto the Bristol Channel, the Severn, and that There's a theory that the Roman road from Salisbury and down to the south coast carries on past the lead mines up in the Mendits in Charterhouse and then heads this way to a port. Not everybody believes that. Looking at the course of it from where antiquarians and antiquologists have had a look at the line of the Roman road, is pretty bendy. I quite haphazard, I think it is a B road if it is a Roman road, but I can't prove it either way. They can't find a port next to the Axe down here. Theoretically there should be a port here, but it is inconclusive. And now remember, political economy, to transport by sea is 12% of what it is to transport by land. So bearing that in mind, it would be logical to get your lead to a port as quickly as possible. And it would be quicker to come this way. But remember, they've got to go around the Horn of Cornwall to get anywhere. So I'm sure some of you mathematically minded people out there could calculate that for me. Would it be more efficient to go that way or go to the south coast and one of the ports there, which we definitely know existed. It's a proper Roman road heading from Charterhouse to Salisbury. But yes, it existed. I'm going to go into a little bit more about the mouth of the River Axe later on. There's more to say about it, some interesting place names that talk of the use of ships in this area. I surrender, I surrender. No, don't hurt me. No, hello darlings. Use good cattle. Hello. Hello darling, come on then. Who's good cattle? Come on sweetheart. Come on then, you're good. Yes, you couldn't harm a fly, could you? You couldn't harm a fly. You're good cattle. Hello darlings. What do you say to the readers of The Guardian who think that you're a menace? What do you think of that? Huh? Do you think it's all nonsense? Yeah, nod your heads. No, you're shaking your head. You think The Guardian's right? Hello, darlings. Aren't you beautiful? How could anybody mistrust you guys, eh? That is, according to the OS map, a Roman road, the Roman road. This down here might be, now very tentatively, might be the Wæl Weg, no, the Wæl Roda. And again, Grundy refuses to accept Roda is road. Common sense will tell you it is road. It continues up here, but not to the left like it does today. It goes straight up the hill, and then but it's so steep you can see that modern English people would rather take a less steep route. Well, that goes up that hill to some barrows, which we're going to investigate. So these Roman roads, now back there at our Roman town, the Saxon charter practically goes through it. It comes up from the Wæl Pill up to what it calls the Smallen Lynch, which means the narrow lynch, and a lynch is a terrace, on an agricultural terrace on a hillside. And then, so we can trace it. It does even today go up like that. Then it follows the course of the 1890s parish map rather than the current map. So the OS map today, the boundary heads south. It heads north, and we know it matches up with what the ancients thought the parish was, the estate was, because it talks of an Alden mead ditch, which is mead is meadow, mead. Ditch is you get dishes in meads. It also talks about an ash well, and whenever we see well, you can have, well means spring, and by extension the streams coming off springs. Now you can obviously get springs up and streams uphill, but if you put them together with mead, it's probably one that's down in the wetlands, down in the moors. Incidentally, we get this word moor even today in the OS maps. It's an archaic form of marsh, really. It's different from the northern idea of moor or Dartmoor as being uplands. These are lowlands. They're wetlands. So they're all over the OS map in this area. We're in the Somerset Moors, and then it talks about this ash well, and if you go further up north of the 1880s boundary map, you will come to a place called Ashcombe. So it's almost definitely, and this is in Wall Hill, almost definitely the ash well is coming out of Ashcombe. So we can trace it. We can see that it follows basically even up to 100 years ago it was following that route, and then but before it gets to any of that lowland, it talks of going to a Wæl Weg, and a Wæl Weg, Wæl is the Valorous Dead. They are in Norse culture, which is the sister language. Norse is a sister language of English. It is Val, where you get Valhalla and Valkyrie. It is the glorious dead. We get the word valorous from that as well. I'd better check that after that disastrous off the cup remark I made on the other video. But Wæl is the cognate of those Norse words, and it comes up in these Wæl Wegs in the charters. That we are looking back into the past. Our imagination should be able to recognise what that might have meant to the ancients, which had something to do with the transportation of the dead in some form, or commemoration of the Valorous Dead. Incidentally, the line of the boundary goes uphill, takes a detour into the marshes, come back, and then follows along the same line up the hill. But if you take the line the other way towards the Bristol Channel, you'll see a Bronze Age barrow called Walborough. I am, of course, suggesting that the wall named after the field's called Walborough. The field was named after the borough in it, which is a berg in Old English, but I don't think it's attested as that. I am, of course, saying that the Wæl Weg is going to the Wæl Berg near the Bristol Channel. I can't prove it, but there is that suggestion. I'm making that suggestion.
And on that bombshell, I think we'll call it a day. Please stay tuned for part 2 coming up in the week. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, etc., and leave comments. I particularly like questions. If there's a question in my comment section, I tend to answer them. So please drop us a line. Ta-ra for now.